Well, good morning. Today is the day, the big day. So, you see all this fun plywood in here, and all this nice echo, and we're gonna make a major change to that today. A big major change is coming, and I'm gonna show you. This is the change. Pergola, or not pergola, but it's vinyl plank flooring. So we're gonna start hooking this up and making all this happen for Joe today. At least get one room set up for him so he's good to go there, and he can start moving into this room a little bit. And of course, then we'll come back and we'll do trim around the windows and all that kind of good stuff. But in the meantime, let's get busy. All right, so I wanted to get a couple of rows started for y'all here to show you kind of what's going on here. So when you're doing flooring like this, 48-inch planks, which is what these are. These are 7 1/4 by 48. So when you're doing your layout, you don't really have to worry about how it's gonna sit perfect on the wall, all that kind of good stuff. Don't worry about none of that, okay? The stuff will start basically squaring itself out as it goes. All right, so you leave a little gap on one part of the wall. No wall is perfect, and you're never gonna find a wall that's perfect. See the gaps here? It's just the way it is. But I'm gonna show you how to know how to stagger these. And how you stagger these is by doing this. And let me show you here really quick. So, take a full plank, just like so. You know the plank is going to go into the wall this way, hence the lip right there, right? So what I do, 48-inch planks, broke down into thirds, 16, 32, 48. Simple. Okay, so I just put my tape on here. Let me show you so you can see what I'm talking about over here. So I put my tape on here. I don't even have to mark these, y'all. I just pull the tape down here, set my plank on there like that, my saw, know where it's got to cut. Okay, there's a 32-inch plank. These are my starter planks, okay? That's what they call the starter planks. As you can see, I've got a bunch of them already started right here, piled up. 16 32s. The next plank, you start out with 16, 32, 48. So you put the cut in next to the wall. Simple, easy peasy. Okay? Locking them in. As far as vinyl plank, you can get you a flooring tool, which is like a little, they call it a Z-bar. You can use that, and that helps kind of, you tap them into place so they lock in place better. And so they're sitting flush all the way down the wall, or all the way connected to each other, should I say. So, not much simpler than that. I have seen some flooring guys out here on YouTube that they want to give you all the technical terms and all that stuff. This vinyl plank flooring, anybody can do this, and anybody can do this quickly, okay? It's not rocket science. All right, so let's get busy, see how much of this floor we can get knocked out, which is gonna be all of it. And this is what I mean by staggering them, 16, 32. So, okay, so let me show you what I'm doing over here. So I say, stick with me, I'll teach you some stuff I learned back in the war, see? Okay. And all these do is just hold it up like that. Push it in so it's kind of snug. Boil it a few times. It'll set flush. Now you see the stagger pattern. 48, 32, 16. You stagger like that all the way down the whole floor. And just keep rocking it out, okay? So, now you know how to install vinyl plank flooring. It's that simple. I'll show you some other tricks when it comes time to get to the other end of the wall and stuff like that throughout the video, but you know, stick with me. You'll learn something today. And again, teach you some stuff I learned back in the war, see? All right, so y'all see, I'm laying the planks out for myself and getting them ready. And I know you see me using my hammer, and in this particular case, instead of using the Z bar, I'm just using a plain old. It's an old frame, speed square, and I'm doing just fine with that. And the reason I'm having to use that is to tap some of them in place, because not all those little lips will lock together and be perfect every single time. But you see how I'm stair stepping from the wall on the right going to the left. Now, what you do with them pieces, I know there might be some of you out there thinking, oh man, that's a lot of waste. Well, no, because if you notice on the left, all those small pieces, now they all fit on the other end, and it works out perfect. So, and the reason, like I said, I'm using that speechware is, like I said, all the lips on there are not always perfect. Sometimes you have to tap them in a little bit to make them fit good and tight. And that's what we're doing. So you notice the stair step all the way up, and that's how you should do this in every single one of them. And it's not difficult. What I'm using my foot, stretching my foot out there for, is so when I have to tap them into the long part of each other, I use my foot to keep it down so it doesn't buckle and rip the other lip off. Super easy, y'all. Super easy. But you see, this goes pretty fast. Now, I am using a flat-headed hammer here in this particular case. Normally, I would just use like a rubber mallet or a plastic-headed mallet and tap them in, but sometimes that's what you have to do. Just again because of the way the lips are on some of them. They don't want to lock together right. So you just tap them in and they'll lock right in. And again, see, I'm using the pieces on the left side over here. These are the cut off pieces from the right side. So this way you have very minimal waste. When Joe was first asking me about that, he was like wondering how he was going to stagger them. He was thinking staggering them, just cutting off half a plank and what have you like that. And he said, I'm trying to reduce the amount of waste. And I said, man, I promise you, by the time you get ready to do this, I said, all of those pieces we cut off for this end go to the other end, and then you don't have much waste. Sorry about that. My phone just went off an Amber Alert. So apologize for that little beeping in there. I thought I had that disabled, but evidently I didn't. So anyway, you see it's going really fast. But you see how when I'm down on my knees, how my toes are bent over and I'm on the balls of my feet? That's what was killing me the most. I finally got some knee pads, so that wasn't bothering me near, hardly at all at that point. But um, the toes of my feet, that's what was getting me. The ball right there where your toes meet. That's what was really rattling my chain. So, but yeah, nice and smooth, going pretty fast. And again, like I said in the video, normally 4 or 5 hours with a helper like this, I could have had this whole room done. Now, the room is about 650 square feet all total. We bought, I think, 700 and some feet, right at 700 feet. And I even think I said in the video there was 800 square feet, so I was misspoken there. Now, in this part of the video, this is what you do when it comes to door jambs. You take your cool tool, you lay a piece of flooring down there, and you cut it out. You cut the door jamb out. And this way, the piece of flooring slides up underneath there, and you don't have to make all them little cuts to go all the way around the door jamb. You just cut the bottom of the door jamb out, and you see once you cut it, it will come out. In this particular case, Joe didn't have it cut all the way through on one part, so he had to just nip off a little nip there. Because you see how you slide it underneath there, it wasn't going all the way through, so he had to go back in and just nip that little section off there. And but that's how you do your door jambs. And like I said, this way everything it slides underneath there. You don't have all the little tiny cuts, and it looks beautiful every time. So for those of you who are wondering about that, now on this side over here, yeah, you see how it's angled right there. You'll see him. He'll cut it here in just a second. He'll nip off that little nub underneath there. All right, come on, hurry up. You're moving the camera around there. I don't want to stare at the floor. Come on, Paulie. And that's what I was doing right there, was explaining to Joe, this is why we do this. But he ended up finding the nipple where it was at. And see how the piece slides in there perfectly and real nice and hides. And then your transition, and when you do your other side, it'll do the same thing. It'll slide underneath there. Then your transition just goes in the center. But for the most part, yeah, it was looking really, really good. Like I said, it was just my feet and my knees that were killing me the most, and mainly my feet. If I could have just dealt another hour or two, I would have been okay. We would have had this done. And I haven't done flooring in a long time, so but again, this is for the novice. For all of you out there that are skeptical about doing it yourself, this is super easy. Vinyl plank is super easy. Do not let it intimidate you, and do not go out there and pay. You know, the average price was about $3 a square foot, between $3 and $5 a square foot, depending on how much furniture one would have to move or what have you like that, how many cuts around, and so how much stuff you have to deal with. So if you get a price that's higher than that and you're willing to move the furniture and stuff like that, don't do it. Again, $3 to $4 is the average. And you can even probably find somebody that'll do it for $2 a square foot. I wouldn't pay anything more than that. Now, I have had some jobs where I've had to charge $4 and $5 a square foot. just because there was so many cuts and so much stuff to go around and what have you like that. Now, usually when I do that, if they buy the quarter round, if the baseboard is already down, they buy the quarter round or the trim, and I'll put that in as well for that price. So just so you know, this is what you're looking at. Now over there on that wall where you see me working now, I was around that vent. Now that vent there, that's the intake vent for the AC. And they put that joker right on the floor, so you couldn't slide the stuff up underneath it. So we were trying to figure out how he wanted it to look, and I told him we'll just take it out, take the return out, and redo it so we can slide it underneath there. And he was like, "No, I kind of want to see this and just do that." And I said, "All right, well, there you go, brother. You figure it out then. You give him something to play with anyway." But yeah, I'm really loving the way it turned out. At this point here, he's looking at it, and he was debating at first on how he wanted the floor to run, whether he wanted to run long ways with the room or short ways with the room. I said, well, if you run it long ways with the room's already long, it's going to look longer. This way here, now the room looks wider. And it really is. So anyway, let's get back to the rest of the video, and you can hear me talk some more over here. But yeah, you can see there, we just about got it going on there. And Joe ended up figuring out how he wanted to do that and making that happen. Joe's knees are bad too, so that's the reason he was trying to avoid doing it. And of course, that's why I kept having to sit on my behind there, because it was really starting. My knees were starting to really get to me bad at that point. And finally, he just said, "I'll take over and finish it." So it's all good. All right. Well, I got to tell y'all, 4 years ago, this would have been about a 4 or 5 hour job. I'd have been done. We're in about 4 hours now, and that's about what we got left. But it's really looking nice. Got all that over there, but knees and feet are killing me on this. So it's, at that point now, we're having to it's taking a little bit longer to make this happen. So Joe's working on fitting the piece in over here, right here, because they put the vent right to the air intake right at the floor, so we can't tuck it in. So we're having to work on that one. But I'm going to get back to laying some of the bigger pieces and keep going with that. And hopefully we'll get her done today. We'll see. It's already like 3:30 in the afternoon, so who knows if we'll get her done today or not. If not, it's all good. We'll come back and finish it up. We'll see what happens.
I keep on giving, even when it hurts. Spending what I have, though it's not enough. I put them first, I put them above, even when I can't show myself that love. Maybe I'm tired, feeling worn down, but I can't let them see me hit the ground. It's all for them, yeah, all for the crew. Even if I'm running low too, I do stuff for my friends, I give what I can. Even when I'm empty, I'll take a stand. They're my family, through thick and thin. I'll keep on loving them again and again. When they need me, I'm right there. Through keep showing up, even when I'm feeling low. It's not about what I got, it's what I give. As long as they're happy, that's how I live. I do stuff for my friends, I give what I can. Even when I'm empty, I'll take a stand. They're my family, through thick and thin.
All right, y'all. Well, the body has given up. So yeah, there's not much left, and it's getting to that point. So that's all we've got left. But we figured with that little bit that's left right there, we could just come over here and another day, knock the rest of this out, go ahead and put baseboard down and stuff like that, and do that all in one day too. But yeah, the body's getting old, man. That's hard to do 800 square feet of flooring. You know what I mean? I used to be able to do this by myself in a day, or with a helper in 4 or 5 hours, easy. You know, yeah, my body's not handling being on my feet and my knees like that. So it is what it is. So like I said, we're gonna call it a day and give you a quick glimpse of what we got going on. It's looking beautiful. Just that little bit left right there. And we're gonna go get some groceries. It's that time. And now they're predicting rain for the next couple of days over at our way, so who knows? We'll see if we can get anything done over there at David's. We never know. We may not. We may be back over here knocking some of this out, so we'll see. All right, so in the meantime, don't forget, like and subscribe, and we'll see y'all soon. We'll bring you back for the final when it's done, though, on the next video, okay? So we'll see you then.